No. No, stay where you are. Do not break the stillness of this moment. For this is a time of mystery. A time when imagination is free and moves forward swiftly, silently. This is the haunting hour. Homicide House. Our story begins late at night in one of the rooms of an exclusive Florida hotel.
Hello. Hello?
Mr. Hubertus Van Cleek?
Yes.
This is Special Investigator Collins of the Miami Police.
Indeed. Well, what the devil is the idea of waking a man in the middle of the night?
I'm sorry, Mr. Van Cleek, but we have reason to believe that your life is in danger.
My life in danger? Nonsense. Who would want to do away with me?
I don't know, sir, but this is a warning. Be sure your door is locked, and your windows, too. You've been followed by...
I know that. I've been followed by a pack of idiots who want to sell me everything from insurance to yachts. I'm used to that. And I know how to deal with these parasites. Now, good night, Mr. Collins.
But Mr. Van Cleek...
Good night, sir. A fool. Ringing me up at this time of night to tell me that my... who's there? Who's at the window? Oh!
Hanson, managing editor. Oh, it's you, Senator. No, sir, the New York Clarion will not retract that statement. This is an independent newspaper. What? You'll take us to court? Go ahead. We've got all the facts on that waterways project, and we can prove them by affidavit. Sorry, Senator, I haven't time to argue with you. I'm a busy man.
Hi, Chief.
What's doing?
Sit down, you two. I've got an assignment I want you to handle together.
Say, Chief, if it's about that phony waterways deal, why, that's just my dish.
No, Bill, it isn't the waterways project.
Oh.
You remember the Hubertus Van Cleek murder case down in Florida a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, he was shot in some hotel room, huh?
By a murderer. Murder's unknown.
That's right. Well, as you know, old Hubertus was the last of his line. One of the oldest and wealthiest society families in New York.
Yeah, the Van Cleeks had plenty in the sock, all right.
And there wasn't even a will.
Yes. Now, here's the angle. Every Van Cleek, from Hubertus right back to old Theodore, the original settler, has died by violence. For some reason, not one ever died a natural death. Remember Claudius Van Cleek?
Yeah, I've heard about him. He was a little before my time. A Wall Street speculator, wasn't he?
Yes. Well, he ruined thousands of people in the market. And one of them finally stuck a knife into it.
Ah.
That left 2 sons and 1 daughter. Hubertus, Hector, and Abigail.
Well, we know what happened to Hubertus. But what about Hector and Abigail?
Well, back in 1898, they took a boat called the Portland for Europe to escape the disgrace of what their father had done. But the Portland went down in a storm off Cape Cod, and so did Hector and Abigail.
Yeah, well, all that's very interesting, Chief, but it's old stuff. What's the story?
Now, wait a minute. I'm coming to that. I just got a tip that a syndicate in town is going to tear down the old Van Cleek mansion overlooking the East River and build a new skyscraper on the property.
That's just as well. That old mausoleum's an eyesore. It's been boarded up for years.
I still don't see...
I want the whole Van Cleek story from soup to finger bowls for our Sunday supplement. Hit this mysterious tradition of sudden death in the Van Cleek family hard. Give me plenty of color and the flavor of the past. Go down with Maureen here and take a good look at the old Van Cleek mansion so that you can write about it intelligently. And we'll want pictures.
Well, doesn't sound very exciting. Look, Chief, if you'd give us that water...
Your assignment, Mr. Foster, is the Van Cleek story. Now get out, and don't slam the door.
I knew I should have been a radio commentator. Come on, Maureen. Okay, driver, here you are.
Well, this is the Van Cleek house, Bill.
Yeah, just a nice, big, gloomy sandstone tomb.
I wonder if those boards on the windows are just to keep the light out or the ghosts in.
I guess this is the kind of place they call a Victorian monstrosity, huh?
It's terribly big.
Yeah, I'll bet that syndicate Hanson was talking about will have to pay plenty for this property.
Well, they can have it, Bill. No wonder Hubertus Van Cleek closed and boarded it up back in the 90s. I don't see how anyone could live in there.
Hey, it's beginning to snow, honey. Come on, let's walk up this driveway.
We're not going in, are we?
No, there's no way to get in. We'll just take a couple of pictures, front and back, and then scram. I got the flash bulb set in it. What was that?
Sounded like a shot.
Yeah, and it came from inside the house.
Inside? Bill, no one's been inside that house for almost 50 years.
There's someone in there now.
Well, then it must be a ghost.
If it is, he's up to no good. Come on, Maureen. We're going to get in and have a look around.
Bill, where are we?
Well, in the cellar, obviously. But more than that, in the wine cellar. You smell the champagne?
Yes.
It's funny how the odor of wine would still be here after 50 years.
Bill, is it safe to use your flashlight in here?
Well, in view of that shot we heard, no. We've got to see where we're going. Yeah. Nice place for murder, huh?
Look at all those spider webs. Why, the place is practically covered with them.
Hey, never mind the spider webs. Look at those bottles on the shelves. Champagne, imported. 1876, 1879, Why, the place is loaded with vintages.
Yes. But why should we be able to smell the wine?
I don't know. We'd better try to find a way upstairs. That's shut.
Bill.
Yeah. Footsteps.
Someone's upstairs.
No doubt about it.
Bill, maybe we better get out and call the police.
What? And ruin a good story? Here, Maureen. You carry my camera. I want my hands free, just in case.
All right. Where are we going now?
There's only one place to go. Upstairs. This must be the door leading to the first floor. Uh-huh. It's open, too. Come on.
That door makes enough noise to wake the dead.
I'm not worried about the dead. It's that live ghost somewhere in this big Victorian barn that I'm worried about.
What kind of a place is this? It's tremendous.
Looks like the grand ballroom.
Shades of the gay 90s. So this is where the 400 played in the mauve decade.
Yeah, gaslight fixtures and all.
Oh, those awful statues and statuettes. They're horrible.
Yeah, they ought to open this place up as a museum. Hey, here's a neat little piece. I can carry it in one hand, too.
Why?
We're chasing a ghost, do you remember? And he's got a gun. We haven't. This little stone figure might come in handy. See what I mean?
He's up there now, on the second floor.
Yeah, and sooner or later, we'll catch up to him. Now, this seems to be the main second-floor corridor.
Mm-hmm. Bill, do you notice something?
What?
It seems clean here. So someone lived here on the second floor.
Yeah, you're right. It's warmer, too. And there's no musty smell.
And no spider webs.
I wonder what that means.
Bill.
Well, seems that our friend the ghost not only likes to shoot off guns, but he likes to tickle the ivories, too.
Maybe he heard us.
Come on, Maureen. This is it. You stay behind me. I'll go first, just in case.
All right, Bill. But be careful.
Yeah, come on.
This is the room. I think I can even make out the piano.
Yeah, but there doesn't seem to be anyone here. Huh?
Bill.
I shouldn't move if I were you. You see, it might be quite unhealthy.
Bill, there's a man lighting a candle.
Yeah.
Look, why, he's got mutton chop whiskers and he's dressed in old-fashioned formal clothes.
Who are you?
My name is Hodgkins. I'm the Van Cleek butler.
The Van Cleek butler? Well, that can't be. All the Van Cleeks are dead.
I must differ with you, madam. I was just entertaining the Van Cleeks with a piano selection when you interrupted.
Maureen, he's nuts.
Who are you, and why are you prowling about the premises?
Oh, we're from the New York Clarion.
Yes, it's the truth. See, the name of our paper is printed on the side of this camera.
Yeah, we heard a shot and
I'm sorry, sir, but you heard no shot.
Now there, wasn't that a
Only a door slamming shut. This is a large establishment with considerable air currents and drafts. That is no doubt what you heard when you forced entry.
Oh, yes, Bill. It must have been a door slamming.
And now I must ask you to leave the premises at once.
Hodgkins, who is it?
We have callers, eh? Undesirable callers, Mr. Van Cleek.
Bill, look how they're dressed. The styles of 50 years ago.
We haven't had callers in the longest time. How nice.
Now, Abigail.
Oh, come, Hector. Ask our guests to sit down. Hodgkins, set the table for 4.
4, but Madam...
4 place settings, Hodgkins, please.
Yes, Madam.
Are you... Do I understand that you're Abigail Van Cleek?
Oh, yes. And this is my brother, Hector.
But you're supposed to be dead. You drowned back in 1898 when a ship went down.
There must be some mistake. As you see, we're very much alive. We haven't had the pleasure, however...
Oh, I'm Bill... Mr. William Foster.
Oh.
This is Miss Maureen Davis. We're both from the New York Daily Clarion.
The Clarion?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I've never heard of it. Of course, we read only the Tribune. Is it a new paper?
New? I wouldn't exactly say so, Miss Van Cleek. It was started back in 1903.
Well, strange. Very strange. This is 1898, isn't it, Hector?
Why, of course, my dear. I'm afraid these lovely people are a little confused. Everyone knows it's 1898.
Oh, sure, of course. Well, we better be going.
Going? Oh, no. I've already given Hodgkins his instructions. You're staying for dinner.
Oh, why,
I'm afraid we couldn't.
Oh, please, we're so lonely. We haven't had any guests in the longest time.
Well,
We'd be delighted to have you. Say you'll stay.
Well, of course. Thank you very much. We'll be glad to.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Oh, good. Oh, you people are so kind. I must talk to Hodgkins about the dinner at once.
I'll go with you, my dear. You'll pardon me, won't you?
Oh, sure, of course.
Bill, I just can't believe it.
Neither can I.
What do you mean?
I'm still not sure that loud report we heard was a door slamming. It still sounded like a shot to me.
Bill Foster and Maureen Davis, New York reporters, have entered the old Van Cleek mansion, closed and boarded up for 50 years. As far as they know, all the Van Cleeks are dead. The last of the line, Hubertus, having been killed in Florida. But now they meet 2 apparitions apparently out of the past and living in the old Victorian house. These are Hector and Abigail Van Cleek, who believe they are living in the year 1898. And look at it. Hector wears mutton-chop whiskers, high-button shoes, and Chesterfield coat. Abigail is dressed in crinoline and old lace. Both might have stepped out of tintypes cast in the gaslight era. Abigail Van Cleek has gone with Hector to make arrangements for dinner. Now Hector returns to Bill and Maureen.
You're probably wondering about my sister and me, Mr. Foster.
Wondering isn't the word for it.
We were sure all the Van Cleeks were dead.
As far as the world has known, they are. But now I'm afraid we can't keep our secret any longer. You see, we were on the Portland when it went down back in 98. But we didn't drown as everyone thought. Abigail and I were on a raft, and we made the shore.
But then why?
You wonder why we didn't reveal our identity? Well, our father, Claudius, disgraced us in the stock market, Miss Davis. We were, well, ashamed. We wanted to hide from the world. And so I conceived the idea of coming back here to the old house after Hubertus had closed it, and living our lives out away from the accusing eyes of the world.
I see. And you've lived here for 50 years, hmm?
Yes, Abigail, I, and Hodgkins. Hodgkins, our family's faithful retainer, had volunteered to stay with us till the end. It's he who buys the food and other necessities, going out only at night. It was he who brought us the news of our brother Hubertus' untimely death.
You mean you and your sister haven't even left this house for 50 years?
That's correct, Miss Davis. And we hope that here we shall die a peaceful and natural death. Contrary to the tradition of our family. There's something further I must explain.
Yes, Mr. Van Cleef.
My sister, Abigail, she, when the ship went down, she lost her mind.
What?
That is, it stopped in terms of time. She actually thinks she's still living in the 90s.
I see.
But you know all about the present.
Oh, yes, of course. But you see, I've always been very devoted to Abigail. That's why I've lived with her all these years, humored her. That's why I wear these ancient clothes. Fashionable in the 90s, but strange to the present eyes.
Strange isn't the word for it. We thought we'd seen a couple of ghosts.
Of course. I understand. I ask only one thing.
Yes, Mr. Van Cleef.
Please humor my sister along. Live with her in the past. Even though you know it's ridiculous, I'd appreciate it deeply.
Of course, Mr. Van Cleef.
Yes, you can depend on us.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, there you are. I'm so sorry I was delayed. The curry, you know, is such an exacting entree. And, of course, the champagne. Hodgkins and I always differ on the champagne. Have you been to the opera lately, Miss Davis?
Why, no.
Oh, what a pity. There's a young tenor named Enrico Caruso. Just a young man, a mere boy. But he sings so divinely. I haven't been so thrilled since I heard Jenny Lind sing. Of course, that must be, 15 years ago.
Well, I do go to the theater occasionally.
Oh, theater. Theater, I do love it. Oh, those lovely young preachers. Lily Langtry and Lillian Russell. And Edwin Booth. Oh, poor fellow. Died 5 years ago. Oh, what a tragedy. What an actor.
Dinner is served.
Oh, thank you, Hodgkins.
More wine, Miss Davis?
Oh, no, thank you, Mr. Van Cleef.
Mr. Foster?
Oh, thanks. I couldn't touch another drop.
You may remove the wine, Hodgkins.
Yes, madam.
It's been a wonderful dinner, Miss Van Cleef. I haven't had food like that since the war.
Oh, yes, the war. Isn't it terrible? Still, we're fortunate in having men like Roosevelt and Dewey to lead us against the Spaniards.
Roosevelt and Dewey.
Against the Spaniard?
Yes, Abigail's right. Admiral Dewey's victory in Manila Bay. And, of course, Teddy Roosevelt's gallant charge at San Juan Hill.
Oh, yeah. Will there be anything else, madam?
No, Hodgkins, I don't think so. Oh, yes. You might tell me what the weather is like outside.
It's snowing very hard, madam.
Oh, then I'm afraid it will be very difficult for Miss Davis and Mr. Foster to get a hansom cab now.
Yes, madam, it will.
Well, I'd suggest that they stay overnight here as our guest sector. Don't you think that's a splendid idea?
I certainly do, Abigail.
Oh, Miss Van Cleef, we couldn't.
Oh, we don't want to put you out.
Oh, no, we'd be delighted to have you.
Yes, we insist.
Well, I'm sorry, but we...
Please, it would make Miss Van Cleef and myself very happy.
Well...
Thank you, Mr. and Miss Van Cleef. We'll stay.
Oh, that's wonderful. Hodgkins. Hodgkins.
Yes, madam.
Prepare 2 rooms for our guests.
Yes, madam. At once.
It's incredible, Bill. Those 2 charming people living the life of 50 years ago in this dismal house.
Yeah,
When we get back to the chief with this story, you'll never believe it.
I'm not sure that I do.
What do you mean?
All may not be as Victorian as it looks.
Bill, I don't understand. You mean there's something fishy about all this?
Well, it could be.
But we've been with them all the time. We've seen everything with our own eyes.
Yeah, and a little extra.
Bill Foster, what are you driving at?
Did you notice the butler's wrist when he served us our soup?
Hodgkins? No. What about it?
Well, his wrist was tanned. I could tell because the white skin showed where he had worn a wristwatch.
Well, what are you talking about? Suppose he did have a coat of tan.
Look, from what we heard, this big butler Hodgkins hasn't been anywhere but in this gloomy mausoleum, or else out at night to do the shopping. Is that right?
That's right.
Yet he has a coat of tan in the middle of winter and with no exposure to the sun.
Yeah, that does seem funny.
Well, don't you get it? Where's the only place Hodgkins might get a tan in the middle of winter?
Why, in the South?
Florida, maybe?
Bill, Florida. Why, that's where...
Yes, that's where Hubertus Van Cleek was murdered.
Then you think Hodgkins might have had something to do with it?
I don't know. Personally, I don't like him. There's something about his eyes. You know what we ought to do?
What?
Get out of here in a hurry. This thing is beginning to come together like a jigsaw puzzle, and it isn't nice. Here, I'll carry the camera.
Bill,
There's no time to talk now. We've got to leave fast if we're going to leave at all. Come on, Maureen. Let's try the back way. The last time I saw our pal Hodgkins, he was prowling around in the front of the house.
This seems to be the servants' quarters.
Yeah, I'll try this door. Maybe it'll lead down into the cellar, and then we can make our getaway the same way we came in. No, it's no good. It's locked tight.
Here's another door. I'll try it. Bill!
Yeah, the bunny. We're standing up in that closet, and when you opened the door, it fell out.
Oh, Bill.
Keep your chin up, baby. Don't lose your grip. I'm going to take a look. Uh-huh. Bullet hole right through the heart.
Then that must have been the shot we heard.
There's no doubt about it. That door slam alibi was a phone... Hey, wait a minute. The devil's got identification papers. Well, I'll be...
What is it, Bill?
This guy's name was Collins. He was a special police investigator for the Miami police.
Then he must have followed Hodgkins up here on the Hubertus Van Cleek murder.
Precisely, Miss Davis.
Huh?
And, of course, I had to do away with him.
Hodgkins?
Yes. Now, don't move, Mr. Foster. This gun works very well, I assure you.
So it was you who murdered Hubertus Van Cleek.
You're a very clever young man, Mr. Foster.
Did you nail him, Hodgkins?
Got him cold, Nixon.
I guess it's all settled about what we'll do with them.
It's all settled, Margie.
Nixon. Margie.
Yeah, in other words, Hector and Abigail. Pretty clever impersonations, too.
Thank you, Mr. Foster.
Looks like we'll have to give these two nosy newspaper characters the same business we gave that cop, Collins.
Yeah, Nixon, looks like.
Bill.
I'm afraid they've got us, Maureen. I've got to hand it to you, crooks. The neatest inheritance racket I've ever heard about.
Inheritance racket.
Yeah, this little trio knocked off Hubertus, last of the Van Cleeks. That means that there weren't any existing relatives to claim the Van Cleek fortune, until very recently.
That is until Nixon and Margie here brought Hector and Abigail out of a watery grave.
That's right.
Pretty clever, aren't you, Mr. Foster?
Yeah, too smart for his own good, eh, Hodgkins?
That's right, Nixon.
But, Bill, how could they prove that they were Hector and Abigail Van Cleek?
Well, they fooled us, didn't they, baby? It was a beautiful act and a very nice little story. Besides, there was always Hodgkins here to add the final clincher.
So you know that too, Mr. Foster.
Yeah, I took the trouble to read a few old clippings down at the Clarion morgue. You really were the Van Cleek butler. As the faithful family retainer, you could positively identify these two phonies here as Hector and Abigail Van Cleek. Then ring yourself in on a nice three-way split on the dough.
No use wasting any more time, Hodgkins. Let him have it.
Yeah, we'll have our work cut out to bury them in the cellar.
Bill.
Steady, baby. I've shot plenty of people with this camera of mine, but this is the first time I've ever been on the receiving end of a...
Put that camera down. Quick, let him have it.
The flashbulb!
Blind for you, Hodgkins.
Your gun on the floor!
All right, it's gone.
I've got the gun, Bill.
Okay, let me have it. Well, isn't this fun?
Oh, Hodgkins, you fool.
You really couldn't help it, Abigail. Or rather, Margie. That flashbulb in my camera just went off and blinded him.
Bill, you're wonderful.
Thanks, baby. Now, if you'll hurry out for the police, I'll keep these characters entertained. Don't forget to phone the chief an exclusive on this first.
I won't. Are you sure you'll be all right, Bill?
Oh, I'll be all right. But if any of these lovely people try anything, they'll die a real Van Cleek death by violence. Premeditated.
From shadows and stillness, mystery weaves a spell of strangest fascination, charging the mind with doubts and fears. For mystery is a strange companion, a living memory. In the haunting No. No, stay where you are. Do not break the stillness of this moment, for this is a time of mystery, a time when imagination is free and moves forward swiftly, silently. This is the Haunting Hour. Death by request. A man sits quietly by his fire, his eyes drawn to the shifting, darting tongues of flame. The crackle of the burning wood breaks in upon the silence, and the man stirs comfortably in his chair. Roger Stevens is at peace with the world. Lost in the stillness of his study, the goodwill of the universe seems crowded into this man's successful life. But there is a deception to this peaceful scene of contentment, for at this very moment, the life of Roger Stevens abruptly changes its course. There it is, the phone jangling harshly, cutting the silence into jarring bits of sound. Roger Stevens becomes aware of the insistent ringing. He rises from his chair, walks toward the telephone. He is wondering who can be calling at this late hour. It is almost midnight. There, he is lifting up the phone.
Hello?
Hello?
Who is this, please?
Is this Roger Stevens?
Yes, but who's calling?
Did you live in Oak City about 10 years ago?
Yes. See here, who the devil is this?
My name doesn't matter, Mr. Stevens, but I'd like you to know that I'm a friend of Mike.
Mike? Mike who?
You know who I mean, all right?
Say, if this is some sort of joke, it's a rather poor one. I'm afraid I'll have to bid you good night.
Don't do that, Mr. Stevens. You'd better hear what I have to say.
Who are you?
I guess you wouldn't know me without my wings, Mr. Stevens, but you might call me an avenging angel.
And, well, you're drunk. Go home and sleep it off.
I've been looking for you for 10 years. I thought you might have changed your name, but you played it smart. After the verdict of suicide, you figured you were in the clear.
Now, look here, whoever you are. This ceases to be an amusing situation. If you don't tell me who you are and what you want, I'm going to hang up.
All right, Mr. Stevens, if that's the way you want it, okay, I'll give it to you straight. 10 years ago, Mike was in business with you. He found you were stealing from company funds. You killed him. Forged the books to make it look like you'd been the guilty man. And planted the idea of suicide. I never believed it. Never.
Why, you're crazy. I don't know what you're talking about.
And when I came home, I tried to tell the police that it couldn't have been suicide, but they wouldn't listen. You had left the city. No one knew where.
Now, listen to me, you fool. You've got the wrong man. I don't know any man named Mike. I never killed anyone.
I know you murdered Mike, Mr. Stevens. I've got the proof. But I'm not giving it to the cops. I'm going to kill you myself. I'm going to make you suffer like Mike.
Now, look, I tell you, you're wrong. I don't know who you are or what you want. If this is some joke...
You know it's not a joke.
Now, look, if you don't leave me alone, I'll call the police.
That's a good idea, Mr. Stevens. Why not tell the police you're a murderer? It might be better that way. It would clear Mike. Okay, then. 2 days are all you get.
What?
Confess the murder in 2 days. Or I'll kill you myself.
Confess to what? I've done nothing.
2 days, Mr. Stevens. 2 days.
Hello. 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 Hello.
Now, I've heard stories like this before, Mr. Stevens. There's no cause for alarm.
But this fella threatened to kill me, Lieutenant.
Naturally, that's part of the routine. These practical jokers have rather wild imaginations.
Lieutenant, I'm not yet convinced.
Take my word for it, then. I've been a police officer for 20 years, and I know a phony threat when I hear it. As for this murder you're supposed to have committed, well, I'm afraid the verdict is not guilty.
Hello?
Sorry to bother you again so soon, Mr. Stevens.
What is it? Why don't you let me alone?
I'll be around for 2 days. Unless you just made that unnecessary. What do you mean? I just followed you to the police station. Did you confess to killing Mike?
Oh, stop it. Now, this has gone too far.
Carrying murder around on your conscience for 10 years must have worn you down.
Now, listen to me, whoever you are. I don't know what you're talking about. I've been to the police, but only to report you for the nuisance you are. Now, I've a great deal of work to do, and I need my rest. Please don't bother me again. Good night. There. That should end it. Oh, Walter. Come in. I'm glad to see you.
Sorry to disturb you this late, Roger. But I noticed the light in your window as I was passing by. Say, you look rather drawn.
Huh?
Been reading a mystery or something?
Worse than that, Walter. I've been in one. You what?
Oh, well, that's wonderful. Here, let me sit down by the fire. Tell me all about it.
It's not that amusing, Walter.
Oh, I'm sorry, Roger. I didn't realize you were so upset. Well, tell Professor Stone all about it.
It began about 2 hours ago. Some fellow called me up on the phone and insisted that I'd murdered a friend of his.
Roger, are you making this up?
Of course not. I told you it was incredible. This fellow, whoever he is, claimed that his friend used to be a partner of mine, that he supposedly committed suicide, but in reality, I'd killed him.
Roger, I've only known you for a few years, but it's never quite struck me that you were a Jekyll and Hyde character.
I went immediately to the police, but they insist it's only a practical joke.
What else could it be?
Well, then how do you account for the fact that a few moments after I returned home, this madman phoned me again? He insisted that I confess the murder, and he's given me 2 days in which to do it.
And if you don't confess this imaginary murder...
He's going to kill me.
Say, he's covered everything. A very thorough fellow.
But who can it be?
Oh, probably one of the boys down at the office. You've been driving him pretty hard, you know.
Well, I've got to, Walter. I promised the architectural blueprints for the new Wilson skyscraper by next week. If I don't deliver, I might as well declare bankruptcy. That's the biggest job I've ever gotten.
Yes, I know. Your bid was a few thousand lower than mine. I hope you make it, Roger. It's a wonderful chance for you.
Don't I know it? Everything was going along beautifully until this maniac began to bother me tonight. I'm worried about this. He must have me confused with someone else.
Oh, forget about that, Roger. You've heard the last of him.
There it is again.
Shall I answer?
No, I will.
Maybe it's someone else.
At this time of night? Hello?
I'm outside the house, waiting.
Why don't you tell me who you are?
Here, let me have it. Hello? There's no one on here. Hello? You're not hearing things, are you, Roger?
Please, Walter, not from you. I couldn't stand it.
Couldn't you recognize the voice?
No, I can't. It's not familiar at all.
I wonder why he left a wire when he heard my voice.
Perhaps he knew you would have recognized him.
Yes, that's probably it, Roger. Well, whoever it is, you'll be able to dress him down properly when you discover his identity. Then it'll be your turn to call him up all night long.
If it were only as simple as that. If only...
If only what, Roger?
Oh, nothing, Walter, nothing.
Well, I'll be getting along, Roger. You look as if you need some rest.
I hope I can get it.
Better see to it that you do. You have to be in shape for those Wilson building blueprints tomorrow.
Somehow they seem unimportant now.
Look here, Roger. You're letting this thing get the better of you. Now, hold on to yourself. Don't let this jokester upset you.
Thanks, Walter. I'll be all right.
That's the boy. Well, have a good night's sleep.
Well, it's about time you showed up, Stevens. I've been waiting here for you at my office for an hour.
Well, I'm very sorry, Mr. Green. I came as quickly as I could.
Do you have the blueprints for the Wilson building?
Well, you know, it's quite an assignment, Mr. Green.
I'm aware of that, Stevens. But your company promised those plans would be ready for me this week. I've got to start construction the day after tomorrow.
Well, you'll have them, Mr. Green. I'm finishing them this evening at home.
Very well, then. I'll expect the blueprints no later than to noon tomorrow.
Well, they'll be ready. I promise you that.
And if you fail, Stevens, you're through as an architect. I promise you that.
Joe, is my car ready?
Oh, hello, Mr. Stevens. Yeah, sure. It's all serviced.
Oh, thanks, Joe.
Oh, say, Mr. Stevens.
Yeah, Joe?
Some fella passed by and left this message for you.
Who was he?
I don't know. I never saw him before.
All right, Joe. Thanks.
Okay, Mr. Stevens.
Mike and me are waiting. Tell the cops the truth about the murder. You'll have one more day. Best regards, the Angel.
I've never heard of any criminal called the Angel.
Well, this fellow's no ordinary crook, Lieutenant. He's got me confused with someone else, someone who really murdered his friend.
We could check with the police of Oak City, but you don't even know the name of your hypothetical victim. Besides, it's obviously a hoax. You're a reputable citizen.
But can't you trace this man by his note?
Even a Ouija board couldn't help me with this, Mr. Stevens. It's printed, and there's no legitimate signature. Any man in this city could have written it.
Well, isn't there anything you can do?
Frankly, I don't think anything's necessary. I still feel this is nothing but the work of a practical joker.
Look, can't you give me a police guard?
Tell you what I'll do, Mr. Stevens. I'll post a man outside your house. That's the best I can do at the moment.
Well...
That's all I can do.
What about the telephone call?
I can't stop calls from coming through. But don't worry too much about that. Your Angel is bound to get a wrong number sometime.
All these plans for the building. I've got to finish them. If he'd only leave me alone. I can't think. Green must have them. Construction the day after tomorrow. No, I won't answer. Why doesn't he let me alone? He could only stop ringing.
Hello, Mr. Stevens. I've been waiting for you to pick up the phone. I know you're there. That's all right. You don't have to answer. I guess you're tired. 10 years of hiding would be tough on any man. But it'll soon be over. Just one more day. Good night, Mr. Stevens. It won't be long now.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, Mr. Stevens.
Operator.
Yes, sir?
Quickly, trace that call that just came to my apartment.
What was that, Mr. Stevens?
I said trace that call I just got.
I don't understand, sir. There hasn't been a call to your apartment for 2 hours.
The life of Roger Stevens has turned sharply from its security and contentment to a torment of fear and anxiety. A strange man has been phoning him constantly, threatening him with death unless he confesses a murder to the police. Stevens has one more day left in which to confess this crime of which he knows nothing, or he will be killed. Roger Stevens feels a growing terror in his heart. Just a few moments ago, he had received another telephone call. But upon asking the switchboard operator to institute an immediate tracer, he was informed that no one had phoned his apartment for the past 2 hours. Roger Stevens sits in his study, staring vacantly into the fire, the dull glaze of fear in his eyes. The jangling of the phone again, like a sharp, sudden pain. He jumps up quickly, runs rapidly across the room.
Hello? Hello?
I understand you were looking for me, Mr. Stevens.
Oh, yes. I'd like to find you.
You'll see me soon enough. You can count on that.
Look, why don't you come to see me now, huh? Maybe we can talk this over.
I made our bargain, Mr. Stevens. There's nothing else to say.
I'll pay you anything, only go away. Leave me alone.
You haven't much time left. Better make up your mind.
For the last time, I tell you I don't know your friend, Mike. You won't even let me know his last name.
You know his name. Tell it to the police.
Hey, look, I'm carrying a gun. If you try to touch me, I'll kill you.
Put it back in your desk. It won't do you any good. You're going to die. And without any company from me.
You're a brave man hiding behind a voice.
I won't have to much longer. Goodbye, Mr. Stevens. This is the last time I'll be calling you. The next time we talk, you'll see me much better than you do now.
No, wait.
I have, too long.
Yeah, I know, Mr. Stevens, but a private detective has other things to do besides running around looking for comedians.
Mr. Harris, I'll pay you any price you want, but I must have your protection.
Sorry, Mr. Stevens, but I can't take the case.
But the man who's been calling me is a dangerous criminal. He's threatened to kill me.
If he does, it'll be a joke on him. Oh, Oh, I'm sorry, but you see, I've heard so many similar cases to yours.
How do you account for the telephone call to my apartment?
Well, maybe the switchboard operator is in on the gag. Or maybe it's your imagination.
It wasn't my imagination. There was such a call.
Well, whoever your friend is, he's covered all the angles.
Then will you help me?
No, Mr. Stevens, I'm afraid I can't. It's not in my line. When you have a murder on your hands, look me up.
Take hold of yourself, Roger. You're going to pieces.
What would you do? Somebody's threatened my life. I don't know him. I don't know what he's talking about.
You know, it's just possible that this whole thing is real.
I know it is. I know it is, Walter. You've got to help me.
What can I do?
Stay here in my office with me, Walter. Stay with me. You'll never come near me with you around.
I can't do that, Roger. Oh, it's ridiculous. He wouldn't dare harm you. He's just trying to frighten you.
I'm not sure. I don't know. How can I take a chance with my life?
Listen, Roger, you've got to get a grip on yourself. Green wants those blueprints by this afternoon. You know what it means if you fail to deliver them.
I don't care. I can't finish them.
But you must. It'll mean the end of your business if you don't.
I don't care. I don't care. I can't do it.
Roger, come to your senses. Green will be here at any moment. Now, what did you tell him?
Tell him just what I've told you. I'm giving up the plans. The Wilson building can be built by somebody else. You take it over.
Are you sure of all this?
Yes.
You've made up your mind?
Yes. Good heavens. Leave me alone, will you?
All right, Roger. You know what you want. You go over to my place and wait for me there. I'll speak to Green when he arrives.
I can stay with you, Walter.
Of course you can, Roger. Now, don't worry any more about those telephone calls. We'll fight this thing together.
Thanks, Walter. You'll hurry, won't you?
As soon as I can, Roger. Here, I'll walk to the elevator with him.
He said I had until tonight.
It'll probably end then. He's tired of the whole thing himself.
Oh, if I could only be sure.
Here we are.
Look, why don't you come home with me now, huh?
Be reasonable, Roger. I've got to talk to Green about new blueprints for the Wilson building.
Going down, sir?
Goodbye, Roger. And don't worry.
All the way, sir?
Huh? Oh, street level, yes. Say, you're new here, aren't you?
Yes, Mr. Stevens.
Well, that's strange, you're knowing my name.
I saw you come in. I make it my business to know all the tenants in the places I work.
You know, you're strangely familiar to me.
I've worked in a lot of buildings.
No, it's not your face, it's...
Anything wrong, sir?
No, it's nothing.
You were saying something about my being familiar, Mr. Stevens.
No, I was mistaken. Forgive me. What's wrong? Why are we stopping?
I don't know. But we're stuck.
What floor is this?
We stopped between the 5th and 6th floors.
Well, use your emergency switch. I've got to get out of here. The lights have gone out.
Yeah, our power's off. We may be stuck here for a few hours.
Well, we can't be. Not jailed up here in this elevator shaft.
You don't have much choice, Mr. Stevens. Hey, you better make yourself comfortable.
Your voice. Here in the dark. There's something about it.
Oh, is that what you recognize?
No. There's just something about it. It's probably just my imagination.
Well, Mr. Stevens?
Yes. Yes, what is it?
I guess this is it.
What do you mean?
There comes a time in every man's life...
No, stop that. No, don't come near me.
When you pull your ideas together and think of how quickly the years have gone...
No, please, no, don't touch me, please!
Life just seems to slip through your fingers.
No!
All right, everybody, stand back. Give him a little air, will you?
What's wrong here? What happened to Mr. Stevens?
The elevator got stuck in the shaft, sir. Mr. Stevens, well, he sort of went to pieces.
Stevens, wake up, man. Wake up. How do you feel?
Oh, Mr. Green.
Yes.
The elevator man, he tried to attack me.
Oh, I did nothing of the sort, sir. He just went wild in the car and began screaming like someone was trying to murder him.
Before you had this fit of yours, Stevens, did you finish the plans?
And I didn't do anything to him.
All right, that's enough. I believe you. Well, Stevens?
No, Mr. Green, I'm sorry. Walter Stone is up in my office. He's taking over.
He had better take over everything, Stevens. You're through in this town. I'll see to that.
Hello, Roger.
Oh, hello,
Came
Walter.
home as quickly as I could. Old man Green was a bit of a problem. It took a lot of convincing that I could finish the plan.
Don't talk to me about the blueprints. I'm not interested.
Oh, what you need is a good rest. Go away and forget about this morbid joke.
You still persist in calling it a joke, huh?
I'm sorry, Roger.
Walter, this is my last night. I haven't gone to the police to confess. I'm afraid. I'm terribly afraid.
What happened to you in the elevator?
Oh, I don't remember it too clearly. I thought the operator was the man who's been phoning me.
I spoke to him on the way down in his car. He told me he was just talking to pass the time when you suddenly seemed to go crazy.
Maybe I am. I don't know.
Take it easy, Roger. It's all over.
Oh, it'll never be over.
What do you mean, never?
I'm going to give myself up.
You really are going crazy.
I don't know the man who's been calling me, but I can't take this any longer. I'm going to tell the police the truth.
The truth?
Yes, Walter. 10 years ago, I did murder a man. His name wasn't Mike. It was George Matthews. He was my partner.
Great Scott, Roger. It's unbelievable.
Why do you think these calls began to drive me out of my mind? If it were just a joke, I'd have ignored these phone calls.
Then you did kill George Matthews in Oak City.
Yes, in Oak City. How did you know it was Oak City?
Why,
I never told you I lived in Oak City. I never told you it was Oak City this fellow Mike was supposed to have been murdered in.
Look, Roger, stop imagining. I told you it's all over.
And the plans for the Wilson building. You wanted that contract. You always did.
Excuse me, Roger. There's a phone. I've got to answer.
No, Walter, I'll answer that phone. Maybe it's our friend.
Roger, I think it would be better if I would...
Walter, I'm going to answer that phone if I have to knock you down first.
Hello? Hello?
Yes?
Well, I guess it's all finished, Mr. Stone. I understand you got the contract. Boy, you should have seen Stevens in the elevator. He almost went nuts.
Would you mind repeating that?
I said he almost... Wait. Who is this?
Go on. What's the rest of it?
Who is this? You're not Mr. Stone.
He hung up.
Roger, please, put that gun away, Roger.
I once warned the voice over the phone that I carried a gun. Didn't he tell you?
Put it away. We can talk this out man to man.
Yes, Walter, you made the same mistake I did. You were too greedy. It never works out. That call that the switchboard operator denied receiving. You planned that also, didn't you?
I didn't know you'd killed a man, Roger. Uh-huh. I asked the operator to say she hadn't received any calls, but it was all part of a harmless plan. It was all an accident. I just wanted to frighten you into not finishing the plans. I needed the contract.
Walter, you've given me a brilliant idea.
Stay away from me. Stay away. No, Roger. Please, it was only a joke.
Glad you didn't get the last laugh.
Right. No.
Operator, get me the police. I want to confess a murder.
From shadows and stillness, mystery weaves a spell of strangest fascination, charging the mind with doubts and fears. For mystery is a strange companion, a living memory in the haunting hour.